And we're live. Welcome to Earful of Dirt. I'm Aaron Castro, and I'm joined tonight by Dan and Victor, Josh, out there in the middle of the country. Corey is out for the evening. And, you know, we're the Major League Rugby podcast, so thank you for joining us. I guess I'm in the comments tonight on the YouTube, so hit me up. How's everyone's week been?
Doing well.
You're right. Feeling a little sick, but otherwise, just perfect.
And that's it. Nothing.
Well, it's the third week, so we're past the honeymoon stage of watching MLR and kind of going crazy with that. So now it's just another.
I like it. So they're going to add a couple teams next year, right? I could totally be into Thursday night rugby every week.
That's a lot.
That is a lot.
Well, think about this. You could have, say, let's just say 4 teams play on a weekend instead of all 10. So you have a bye. And you play just one game every day. That beats the Premiership playing all 6 games in the final round at the same exact time. Kickoff was not different for any of the games.
But you know the reason why they do that, right?
Because they're idiots.
No, because apparently they don't want all the teams to know the math of who did this, and I guess they want them to find out at the same time.
Well, it really didn't matter because the top 4 and London Irish being relegated was already set in stone the week before.
That's right.
So, I mean, the rest of the table doesn't really matter to me because I'm not in England, and I would like a staggered start.
I'm just telling you what they say.
Personally, myself, I would love to see Saturday late morning all the way until Saturday early evening, and then 2 games on Sunday. But that's just who I am. But before we go, we could talk about this for probably 2 or 3 hours, which is a bit nonsense. But
I got one more thing to add. If they do Thursday night football, you could get another broadcaster and you get like Fox Sports or somebody because they don't show anything during the week.
That is all right.
That's true. Aaron, tell everyone at home who we are, other than talking about random times to watch rugby.
For those new to the podcast, each Monday night we sit down, we discuss news and rumors from Major League Rugby, and guess what? There is a rumor, and I started one.
Uh-oh.
We'll talk about it later.
We'll talk about that at the end of the show. Major League Rugby is the United States Professional Rugby Union competition. It's a chance to discuss the issues, hear from the league, team leadership, and check with our friends across the U.S. rugby scene. This week, what do we got?
This week we got, as we were talking about before, 3 games. There's a Thursday, Friday, and Saturday game. Austin played NOLA. There was a thriller in San Diego versus Houston, and an almost upset of Utah versus Glendale. Apparently, we have a rumor too, which Aaron is going to spread like wildfire. So that's coming on at the end of the show. But these are the 3 games we got. So first up, Austin NOLA. What do you guys think?
And Austin rises.
Does anybody know if Sebastian Collins okay?
I can find out, but not right away.
What do you want to speculate?
I mean, his pride is hurt.
Heck yeah, of course it was.
Dude, I don't think he knew what he had for lunch that day.
After the hit, I would have been surprised. By the way, scored 30-17 to Austin over NOLA. None of us got that right, and we'll talk about it.
That one's kind of embarrassing, to be honest, because the rest of them we picked close, right? And
I mean, technically, Corey was close. He had Austin by 7.
Yeah.
He's so happy that he just took off.
Yeah, seriously.
The gloating. So, really the only bright spot for NOLA was John Sullivan, who, man, his work rate on offense and defense that was pretty ridiculous. He can play 6. Oh, my.
Canada, he's from upstate New York. Can't deny it.
So, Then I gotta say, Austin, they improved a lot this week. When it comes to ball distribution, ball movement, the connection sort of seems to get better just each week.
I really like. Well, first of all, I was happy to see that Austin won because I was getting at least a little bit nervous. But I really like what I'm seeing from Ben Mitchell, who's their lock, especially because when you say ball movement, he had a nice offload that led right to a try. But that was someone who I didn't know anything about. I think he's from Ireland.
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken.
He and Ned Hodgson went to the same school, I think, at different times. University of Cork.
Yeah, I'm actually literally just looking this up now. Ben Mitchell, he's only 23 years old and 6'7". He's a big guy, and I've never heard of him before, but he's been on our radar for the past 3 weeks because every single time he seems to be a real bright spot on Austin.
He's a really complete player, and if you look at how he came up, he played center until he was 16. And then he had that high school growth spurt, and they moved him to second row. So, I think Austin is building a dominant set piece that can help them compete at the top level of the league. Granted, they moved from like the bottom of the league to middle of the table with that Victor.
Really tough to do with only 3 games. Like it's really tough to actually assess unless you're really digging into each game by just looking at the standings. Because you had the Seawolves who had a dominant first game, a close loss their second, but they're technically like 5th place, even though they only played 2 games. So it's really tough to see.
Yeah, I mean, with a 17 league, we just saw the parity that already exists, which we'll get to later in the show. But the other really big one for me, outside of obviously Hanco, I mean, I'm going to stop talking about Hanco because Hanco is Hanco.
He set his own bar.
But Ned Hodgson at fullback, he was good. Originally sort of brought in to be like a back 3 filler. He's a center out of the Munster Academy. Was a Munster U20. He can ball. As a fullback, I think he plays very well. I think he'll probably start the rest of Austin's season there because their centers are kind of figured out anyways.
Well, guys, speaking a bit of the match overall had errors. There was a lot of ball dropping, and some of the lineouts didn't win the way. The hookers missed some of the marks, and this was coming from both teams. And Austin's play, in my opinion, looked disorganized, but a win is a win. Obviously, it doesn't matter how you get it on the pitch. Happy, of course, that Austin finally got their revenge over NOLA, and beautiful tries by Ned Hodgson and Hanco Germishuys. By the way, it was a smart idea by the elite of taking all the possible points whenever they could by the fly half.
Always take the points.
Of course.
No,
not all teams do it.
Go for goal.
Yeah, always take the points.
Go for the try. Go for the try. Get aggressive.
Of course, and that's exactly what helped them win. They're taking the points whenever they could, and Timothy Guillemin, whatever you pronounce his last name, was on point, which was great. And by the way, we talk about Sebastian Calm just now. If you didn't know, he tackled head on Hanco Germishuys. He bounced off him and fell off, and they had to take him off the field because of a possible concussion. I
mean, I would say it was sort of like good form tackling. His shoulder went right into Hanco's thigh, and
of course,
Sebastian just wilted.
Exactly, he hit him and bounced off him,
and that does not happen. Like people do not like. Sebastian does not bounce off of people.
Of course not. It's huge.
People into the ground. That was impressive.
Yeah, I think Hanco's like he's the muscle hamster of this league. He's not huge. I mean, he's bigger than me, but he's not huge compared to everyone else. But he's really, really muscular, and he just runs through people. So I think Muscle Hamster is a good nickname for him.
But it goes to show you guys how scary the Hammer is whenever you try to face him. That's what happens when you face a Hammer.
And actually, this kind of goes back to two things you guys just said. Aaron talking about the parity of the league, and Victor talking about some of the errors. It's really good to see that a lot of teams are fighting back and forth. There are errors. Like I've seen a lot of knock-ons over the past 2 or 3 weeks. A lot of missed tackles by a lot of teams, and which leads to some big runs. I think Ned Hodson had one of his tries like that. But overall, there is parity. It's not like one team just looks completely blown out of the water and everyone else is just running over them. It's good to see that the teams are really fighting back and forth. We're messing up our picks. It could be either because we're idiots or because, you don't know who's going to win these. So that's really great to see.
Yeah. So is Hanco the second victim of foreign poaching?
Who's the first?
Ben Landry.
Before the league even started.
Yeah.
I guess victim in a positive sense. I mean, I
guess the league becomes the victim.
Yeah.
He gets rewarded for his effort. Well,
the league gets rewarded in a sense, in the sense that if you get more players who get picked overseas because of this, then obviously that looks good for the league. It sucks that you're missing out on a great talent because he's going off somewhere else, but I mean that's just a great resume builder right there for MLR.
I think he's one of those guys that is quickly separating himself, from as an elite player. He's an Eagle, and he's probably going to be one of those guys that gets into the 70, 80 range and can even, if he stays healthy, can even be a Centurion. And we don't have a Centurion right now. If you look at who has the chance to be a Centurion, it looks like it's going to be Cam Dolan, which would be freaking awesome.
I agree.
Yeah. So I think Hanco really could, though, because he's only 21. He already has, I think, 4, 5, 6 caps, something like that. I don't know the exact cap number. But, I mean, it can't be too difficult for him if he just plays out professionally and doesn't have any, knock on wood, he doesn't have any.
Might as well do it too.
Major injuries.
I mean, you could throw 3 more names in the victim pile, and Ben Mitchell, Harley Davidson, and Dolph Baffa. I mean, we saw the immediate impact that Dolph Baffa had in the San Diego scrum.
We can talk about Dolph both. I want to say he's even improved, but this is a guy who's already been an overseas professional. So
we can see poaching in the sense that in his case, I think he was in the Sharks Academy. Yeah. Comes here, and this just shows him on an level.
He was with Sharks. He was with Sharks for a year in Curry Cup and Super. I think he had 5 appearances in Super Rugby. So, all right.
He could be a Dom Walduck, because that's what Walduck did with Pro. He came over and then got another opportunity back in Europe.
So,
I think that's right. Not to drag on too much about this, but I think we'll definitely see a lot of young guys like academy age who have been in the system for a while in Ireland, South Africa, all these other places, come here for a year or two, and then it just kind of boosts them up, and you hear about them more because they're in this league, it's in the U.S., as opposed to the 500 other guys who are exactly like you back home. So I think that's what really ends up happening for a lot of guys.
Moving on to San Diego versus Houston. So do we have a problem? Yes or no?
Maybe Houston does.
You're saying that because I was scratching my nose.
Well, no. I mean, does Houston? Do you guys think Houston has a problem?
Offense.
I guess that is a bit of a problem. A problem compared to everyone just assumed that they'd be one of the best based on how much noise they made before the season even started and how many games they had for the preseason.
Yeah, I don't know. I had really high expectations, to be honest. They built a squad full of really good athletes, really good rugby players, and they had depth. And right now, I don't know.
I think they'll still make the playoffs.
I don't think
about that.
I don't think they're playing to the potential that they could be playing. And I think Coach Fitzpatrick is getting after it, trying to analyze, trying to figure out what it is, because they beat in the preseason. Granted, they still don't have what I would say is the best side that they're able to field. And we'll get into why that is in the questions from Bob area. So, but it's just really it's really interesting to see how they set up, how they built out, and then struggled here.
Yeah, it is, like we said, a little bit disappointing, but I think even with some sort of disappointment from them, I don't think they're, crapping the bed or anything like that. I just think that they're not living up to the potential that they really could be, which is something that's really much more powerful than they are. However, anyone who watched this game will see how much of a back and forth this was, and they literally just lost by a couple points. So I think that's something that they shouldn't hold themselves too hard against.
Yeah, I think there were 10 lead changes in this game. Awesome. When I interviewed Chris Cracknell on Monday, he really wasn't giving me what I was trying to get out of him when it came to the game plan adjustments, the attack that they were going to run. And, maybe he was just being a bit cheeky because they had a British and Irish line come over for some scrum sessions last week. Alex Corbizero was at the Legion's practice for a day, so wonder what they talked about.
Sure enough, quite often now with San Diego, before with Rooney, what's going on?
What is Alex Corbizero doing?
Yeah, Alex Corbizero. Yeah.
The hell he wants.
Well, he's a rugby pundit and he's living the life, so he can go wherever he wants. But he and Rob Hoadley are really good friends.
I'm aware from his podcast.
So
shameless plug for him.
Right. He's friends with everyone, really.
So he was just going to hang out and see what they were doing, because he's a big fan, not of Rooney, he's a fan of Rooney, but he is a big fan of the league and what it represents. He is really positive, and you see his Twitter feed and stuff. He's tweeting stuff about MLR all the time. So
he is technically American, though he did end up playing for England.
He's from New York. All right.
He's from Queens, bro. Come on. He's just from Queens.
I'm going to pretend you didn't even try to use that accent. I don't know what that was.
Seriously, I don't know. Thank you. I didn't know what that was. I completely agree.
But
poor imitation of a New York accent from some guy from SoCal.
He's from Queens. He not far from where I am right now, as you'll probably hear fire engines go by in 2 seconds.
That carries off them.
But in the first half of this game, the people that really stood out were, obviously the MLR Player of the Week, Anthony Salaber, with the hat trick.
Who?
I really thought that he was going to do more in the second half. He did a lot. I mean, he had multiple carries, great tackles, but the way his support running was in the first half, you just thought he was going to score.
Is that one of those cases where you see someone basically break a record in the first half and you think, oh my God, they're just going to completely shatter it, and then they don't really do as much in the second half?
I think it's more of they switched their focus to Salaber and left open other holes.
Yeah, because they needed to reduce what the San Diego backline was going to do, but they isolated Salaber, but they didn't isolate Ryan Matias, right? Because he still had gashing runs all over the place. The scrum for San Diego has gotten so much better. I think Sione Tuialamaka has grown a lot in the games that he's started. And Dolph Botha back from injury. I think he's improved. The first game he was I don't think he was fit. I don't think he was ready to go. I don't think he he knew what the level of play was going to be, but he scrummed, very well against Jake Turnbull. And, Sione Tuihalamaka, he scrummed very well against Adam Macklin, who is an Irish, professional. So when it came to that, but credit to Albert Harmon, old guy from Lombac. He was really important when it came to how their lineouts were working and the drive in this scrum for them. I mean, not to say anything about Sousey and Mahoney, like both those dudes. I think there was a tremendous difference in their scrum when CC came over. Him and Albert Harmon together were a great engine room.
Just ties everything together, really.
Mm-hmm. And definitely, guys, this was a great match, by the way. Extremely entertaining because we haven't mentioned it already, the score was 35-32 to San Diego. San Diego winning at the death by a try by either Anthony Purpura or Pat Blair.
It was Purpura.
It was Purpura. Thank you, right? Because I keep hearing like Pat Blair.
I was lucky to have a TV.
Pat Blair wasn't even on the field.
Thank you. That's what I said.
So I was looking around, and there were some people that credited Covey with that try.
Oh.
Yeah,
Weird.
It was a mess. You just grab whoever you can, really. Exactly. Just he gets it. It's a team. It was a team try, really.
Exactly. That's exactly.
I think Kobe had the push before Purpura's. So I think that may be why, but I watched the replay and Purpura had the last.
Mm-hmm.
I saw 17. I think he was 17. I saw 17 grab the ball.
He was 17. You're right. You are right indeed with that, Josh. And these are the games that we should be expecting every single week from Major League Rugby, guys. From even if it doesn't happen often in season 1, for season 2 onwards, those games where you are guessing who may win at the end. I mean, it's like you're not really sure, I guess. Yeah. So those are the best games, in all honesty. So
what's interesting here is that even the Premiership, you have the dog able to win games.
Yeah, I mean, this was kind of going off of this is really everything you'd want for the nationally broadcast game. I know some people still complain about defense and tackling or whatever, but as I was saying before, still awesome, great, just kind of finding issues there. Still a great game to watch. It was back and forth, as you said, Aaron, about 10 lead changes. That's really keeping everyone on their seat. So huge back and forth, 2 very evenly matched teams. It ended up in a last-minute victory for the home team that they won literally when there was no more time left. It was about 3 minutes over, and there was a hat trick beforehand too. So it wasn't like a 6-3 game where everyone's just kind of sitting there, and unless you're really a fan, you appreciate it. Fans can really get into it. It wasn't just terrible defense and amazing offense, but it was a fun game to watch. And I'm sad I missed the first half, though I will have to wait until I think Tuesday when they put it on YouTube.
I think it's out now. It's out. I think it's out
really?
now.
All right.
That's what I was going to say, exactly.
But
see you guys
a couple of hours ago.
Was it there was I still have some concerns for San Diego, specifically front row depth, because in the second half we see the difference between the seconds for the Houston front row and Houston scrum, and how many penalties did the Houston scrum earn against San Diego in the second half? Was it 4 or 5?
It seems about right.
Actually, funny on the whole scrum penalty thing. So I was watching the game with my dad, and I only watched the second half, and he is a ref. He's been reffing for like 2 years now, and it drove him crazy that it kept saying scrum penalty, but it wouldn't tell him what the penalty actually was. So for some reason, he kept yelling. I was like, I don't care. I don't know what the scrum penalties are. I don't understand scrum penalties. All I know is something happens, people fall over, someone gets the ball. That's all I care about. But my dad was really unhappy about that, but he still loved it. He thought it was great.
Does Sam Windsor get picked up by Ulster? Because I hear they need a fly half.
No, they got a pretty good
24 points, man.
That's pretty good.
24 points.
Well, he got how many tries did Houston get?
Uh,
I'm assuming
2. They only got 2.
Yeah,
they only got 2.
Yeah, so it was his try. His
Literally
try.
all Sam Windsor.
Yeah, it was. So he had 5 penalty kicks. Yeah.
He had 6. He missed one.
Oh yeah. So he made 5 penalty kicks.
Wow.
And but yeah, it was pretty.
5 penalty kicks, both conversions in his try.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
But overall,
24 points.
Going back to what we're saying, not to beat a dead horse with this, but this really was an exciting match. If anyone here did not actually watch the full thing, go back and watch on YouTube. Definitely the match of the week for me, possibly the match of the season so far. I know it's only been 3 weeks, but it was a lot of fun. I didn't really see the pigeon much. I mean, I heard it was actually there in San Diego, but I did actually hear I don't even know what they're called, the Legion, the Army supporters. I don't know
the cohort.
The cohort, that's right, yeah. So, actually, for anyone at home who has Facebook, look up San Diego Legion supporters. A bunch of people who are San Diego fans are really on there. They've been active ever since San Diego was the Breakers, and a couple of guys who do this kind of stuff for reenactments happen to have a bunch of armor anyway, so they show up and they really get into it. There's this one guy, Sheridan, who's the guy with the white beard. He passes out leaflets that has songs for them to sing and things for them to yell, and they have signs and everything, and people really love it.
So
if you get a game like this,
if you want to be a member, they have loner armor.
They have loner armor. They're trying to get drums together, even though I don't think the Romans actually ever used drums. But I'm going to save that for a later podcast where we talk about Roman history.
Aaron, if you ever go out to one, I fully expect you in full garb.
Exactly. In full cosplay or LARP, I guess, if you want to call it that. LARPing. Hey, that's right, bro. LARPing. But you know what? That's great, guys, because the team just started, and there's a culture being built around the team by the fans. So that's great. It's really cool.
And it also happens to be relevant to what the team name is: Legion, Roman soldiers,
Legionnaires, of course. Also, just want to make clear, guys, from now on, we're going to be referring to Anthony Salaber as Salad Bar. Yeah. Again, I just want to make that clear right now, because Anthony, I know, is going to be listening to this and probably going to hate us.
The Salad Bar.
The Salad Bar.
The Salad Bar, baby.
The Salad Bar.
You know, what did San Diego have to do to win the game? They had to go to the Salad Bar.
All you can eat salad bar.
Exactly. They just need the veggies with some dressing on the side, some light dressing. Not too fattening. That's it. I'm just saying. So moving to the next match.
I think we get this one.
Utah 29-36. AKA. So are we seeing chinks in the armor? Maybe the 2 practice sessions a week schedule that needs to shift to maybe add a session, maybe add 2 sessions and a captain's run.
Yes,
they do. They do have a captain's run.
So they have 3. So they have 3 sessions. Okay. So they have 2 coach led and 1 player led. Okay.
So my answer to that is yes, they do need to add more practices. However, they're also missing 5 starters so far. So I think that's obviously contributing quite a lot to.
4.
4.
But
okay,
1 guy, 4 and 1 guy is playing out of position.
Yeah. So they're missing 4 starters basically, and they're also 4 pretty decent starters. One of whom was just signed by an English club, and then the next day got a red card. So I think that has a lot to do with it too. Just putting it out there, because as you've seen from this game, they controlled the first half, but then there was the second half where they kind of started to falter a bit, and they gave up a lot more towards Utah. And I think that the missing a couple players and missing a couple starters and forcing your backups basically to put in affected that.
I think a lot of that had to do with the loss of both Casey Rock and Sam Figg. I truly believe Sam Figg is the signing of the season so far. with how he's propelled the Raptors so far.
Does anyone actually, off topic, but does anyone else think that Sam Fig kind of looks like the brother from Get Out?
No.
The brother with the lacrosse stick? I think he looks just like him.
I need to reassess the photo you sent. But he's got that, like, he's got the porn stash going.
Yeah. And, like, the kind of curly hair that's whatever, I don't know. And everyone at home, just look it up and tell me how right I am.
Or wrong.
Yeah.
We'll do a poll. We'll do a poll tomorrow.
I do agree with Aaron, though. He does look like an AV actor. You probably know what an AV stands for, and if you don't know,
welcome to the PG Earful of Dirt podcast.
That's what we're here for. That's what we're here for, B.
I think that if you increase the training sessions, you'll get more reps for some of the young guys that were only going to play like 20 minutes, or some of the young guys that were just going to be squad players that now have to play. That is like that's where I see the problem.
The combination of both.
So
I'm right.
So are you talking high like MLR play, or because I think a lot of them they played with the academy team for some games.
I'm talking like at MLR level, like so the practices are different. I know that one of those practices a week they practice with the academy team, but once you get pulled up, you're no longer on the low end. But Glendale going to Glendale, right? Which we saw in the last 10 minutes of that game. Utah, though, they're getting better. I think Tucci is finding his feet in the front row. As far as a lock pairing is concerned, and then as reserves, Jensen and Uhila, they're figuring it out. They're pushing. They're grinding. And then Corey Olsen, he's even bigger than Jensen is. So, and then
hard to believe.
Did Tucci switch to prop when he came to Utah, or had he been playing prop wherever he was before?
No, he played
eight at CSU.
He played prop in high school, and then he played loose forward at CSU, and that one semester he played at West Texas A&M, and then he played in Ireland at Gorey. He also played as a loose forward. So he's, I don't know, spent years playing football and trying to become a flanker, now converting to prop. So
I mean, props to him. A pun not intended for the first time probably ever, but props to him for actually really holding his own and coming together pretty nicely there.
Mm-hmm. It's very similar to Sione Tuihalamaka because, again, he was a loose forward and moved to the prop position. Only thing is I assume Tucci has probably a little bit more experience than Sione.
Yeah. Feitu Vainicolo.
It's good.
Mm-hmm.
Shouldn't pass.
Probably
he should
not.
just keep going running with the ball without passing.
Just if you take contact, take the contact, help form the ruck.
What he's really known for is running kind of straight at someone and right through someone and scoring as a result. He's not known for being the flashy passer. He's known more for just being really hard to take down, but running his lines as he needs to.
And I think that contributed to Utah's the score in this game, because watching the game, Glendale continuously tried to tackle high, even though they got run over time after time after time. They didn't go low at all.
Playing rules.
I think for Feitu, that guy can create so much. He can wreak havoc on the defense, but his passing I don't know. It reminded me of stuff when I played D3 club rugby. So
why? Because he threw it right to the Raptors.
Yeah, exactly.
That sucks. Oh well, guys, but thrilling match overall, guys. I have to say, very tight too. Again, like we said with the score again of 36-29 by very much by a converted trite. But we have talked about everyone, guys. But we haven't talked about the man of the match, Mr. Harley the Motorcycle Davidson. Man, that kid. Let me tell you.
So you just named him man of the match?
Yes, Josh.
Good.
The motorcyclist.
Because I can't believe they named Micah Cruz the man of the match.
It's Crusade. It's Crusade.
Okay, Dan Power.
It's Mika. It's Mika Crusade. Thank you. He's really proud of his name. Come on, Aaron.
Crusade.
If you want to be really proper, it's Michaele Crusade.
Okay. Michaele Crusade. I'll take that one. Let's add like 4 other vowels.
So you were just arguing about something 2 seconds ago.
Oh, well. Yeah. So 2 guys Victor is going to talk about, Harley and Mika.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, it was just that. Really cool. The fact that Harley Davidson helped him out to score. And again, Harley got his Man of the Match award. So obviously, definitely earned.
On Harley's try, it was Bryce Campbell who was running it back. Took the tackle instead of making a stupid pass. Immediately to Harley, right? Am I remembering that correctly?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm Harley, I want to say physically, Harley Davidson and Nate Augsburger are about the same size, right? Like a small winger is what I'm trying to say. And I just get sort of surprised every week with his vision and his footwork and how he's able to shift to where he wants to go. And he scores. He's been on the board every week.
Yeah. Where was he before?
Life.
So
yep.
Little program.
I will say this. Jake Chrisman started for Sean Davies because he picked up an injury. He seemed to play slow ball that you hate from Nate Augsburger.
And
then when I think it's Kevin Lynch. When Kevin Lynch, I apologize. Let me make sure real quick.
Kevin Lynch, yeah.
Yeah, when he came in, that's when the speed really picked up, and I think that's when Glendale picked up.
I've seen Chrisman play better games. That's all I'm going to say about
that. Harsh.
But, yeah. And, like we said, Glendale, so...
It was almost a tie match at the very end. Utah was maybe on the 5-meter line. And they were
on the 1-meter line.
It was that should have gone in. Oh, I couldn't believe they failed.
What was the penalty call? I missed that because I was actually sick.
He didn't come through the gate.
Yeah,
that's the worst.
So yeah, guys, Harley Davidson just rev over the competition.
If he doesn't, I'm gonna be I'm probably gonna have to message someone who worked at Harley Davidson personally if they don't sponsor him.
Seriously,
that's easy. That's easy money.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly. That's like the easiest.
Give him a motorcycle. Just tell him, just rev up this motorcycle. Just bring it onto the. Well, don't bring it onto the pitch. Ride it to work every day. Show it off when you get off. Just take the helmet. Do it like what's his name? The kid from Bad News Bears. Just show up in the motorcycle and then just take off the helmet and jump over the fence and join the team.
Still think Glendale needs the motorcycle sound whenever he scores.
And for you could just have what's his name? Rookie the Raptor. I forget his name.
Rudy
the Raptor. Every time he scores, he jumps on a prop motorcycle and then they blare the sound.
I thought you were going to say jump on. He jumps on Harley.
That would be great if we could jump on Harley.
Or other way around.
Not jump on Harley, but on Harley.
If Harley jumps on Rudy.
That's all that.
I know that. Cool. I know that rugby players don't usually celebrate that much, but if your name's Harley Davidson, I mean, no one can get mad at you for celebrating that. Come on.
Of course. Man, Harley Davidson, the company, could just sponsor the Raptors. That'd be great. In all honesty.
Just make it happen.
Seriously.
All right. Some less. I guess this is housekeeping from Josh for some reason.
I don't know. You put it in there, but
I didn't add that.
I did.
Oh,
Uh-huh.
fucking Victor.
Oh, dude, I love you too, bro.
Well, he's like, I don't know. It's just there, and it has my name on it.
Hey, I own up to it.
hey, I'm just here to do what I'm told and do research.
All right. Next.
So, player of the week is the outside center from San Diego Legion, Anthony Salaber.
Salaber.
It's funny because you said it both ways, and I didn't hear any difference. I heard the same last name twice.
It's
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you
I
said
didn't. No, I didn't.
We're just gonna say Anthony Salad Bar.
Salad bar, exactly. Yeah.
You gotta have a pause. You have to pause, and then
Apparently, you have to have a D instead of a B too.
yeah.
Mm,
I'm just saying his last name sounds just like it. That's all.
And then we ran a poll. What did we get out of that?
So we decided to go with play of the week. We had choice between Sam Figg's tackle on Don Potty, Hanco's run through Sebastian Calm, and the first drop goal in Major League Rugby history. And we'll say Kalenasau won with the drop goal.
That was actually, I completely forgot about that. We didn't talk about that. That was fun to watch.
It's like, so like I'm on my phone and I get like a chat from our friend the rugby evangelist. He's like, that was awesome. And then someone asked about like the score and he's like, shut the hell up, the game's not over at my house. So he's like, his feed was like 5 minutes delayed. It was hilarious.
Well, it was funny because they didn't really set it up like I've ever seen a drop goal set up in like the Premiership. It almost felt like they just rushed right into it, and it didn't even really feel that necessary to really.
I think it was something Kalenasau saw. I was like, we aren't getting anywhere. They aren't coming at me, so might as well.
I think he just figured he had the ball. He had the gap, and then he kicked an ugly ass ball through the uprights. It was so
it also put them up 4 points.
Yeah, which was
true.
Which was needed. So
Kalenasau kind of strikes me as a guy who just, he's got that, Fijian island vibe. He just takes things as it goes. If it makes sense in that second, he'll do it. And he's a sevens player, so he won.
And he also just had a kid too. So or was that VG?
That was VC.
Oh, sorry.
So
my bad.
All right. So game of the week. What did you guys pick?
Do we even have to ask this?
Seriously.
It seems everyone picked the same game. So San Diego Legion over the Houston SaberCats was the game of the week from EOD. Pucker Factor.
Mm-hmm. And well-deserved, too, because that was a battle between two titans that did not give up, not until the end.
All right.
I just wanted to say that.
Let's look at last week's predictions. God, we suck.
Not me. I wasn't here.
Corey, hold on. Corey, you can shut up now. I can hear you gloating from Colorado.
So all of us had Glendale, and the rest of us, we lost. So Glendale was the only one that was. Corey was the only one that was right. Bless him. He was actually pretty close on two of them.
He was right on San Diego.
Round 4. Austin at Utah. What do you guys got?
You're first.
Yeah.
Austin -1.
I got Utah -3.
Utah -7.
Got Utah -5.
All right. I can see all of those happening. So.
Not at the same time. That'd be kind of difficult.
Seattle at New Orleans. Seattle -1.
NOLA -2.
I'll do Seattle too, but I'll do -14 just to see if it happens.
I got Seattle -8. I picked 8 specifically just because I think they're going to lose, not by 14, but I don't think they're going to be close enough to get the bonus point loss. Also, I just think Seattle's defense is too strong for NOLA.
Yeah. And then the final match of the weekend, San Diego at Glendale. I have calling it right now. San Diego -5.
Wow.
Ooh, let's go.
I got Glendale -3.
I got Glendale -4.
You -5.
Oh, excuse me, -5. I said -4. I don't know why I said that. -5.
Well, if you want 4, you can do 4. You don't have to do what the paper says.
Yeah.
No. No, I wanted 5. I wanted 5. I don't know what's the 4. I'm sorry. -5. No, -5.
I got Glendale -7. I think that they're just gonna be much better than them. I don't see the San Diego winning. That's tough. I guess I can see it happen, so I guess I counter exactly what I just said, but I don't think it's gonna happen.
Yeah, when in doubt, you just go for Glendale. That's what I did.
I just think Glendale has had 2 really difficult games away. So it's with the injuries, it's really hard to tell how they're going to play at home, unless Josh finds another 2,000 people to come in and they just get rowdy.
And Josh is going to be personally
doing my best, man.
that. Yeah, I just think it's going to be tough, but I also, this is a little bit off topic, but I'm really interested to see what happens with San Diego over the next couple of weeks or so, because San Diego is the team that I personally think is going to be hit the most by the whole test match summer series blues when they lose like 6 or 7 starters. But I'm also interested to see if any of the on-back guys actually join up with San Diego over the next couple of weeks, because they just lost to Belmont Shore last weekend. So you might as well. I mean, if I'm in the area, if I'm one of the better players in on-back, I'm going to see about jumping on one of those practices.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, especially if Belmont Shore doesn't go all the way. Then there's more guys from up in Long Beach that can come down to reinforce the Legion. So there's a lot of possibilities going on.
Yeah, and I think that just throws a whole wrench into everything, where we don't know how it's going to happen. They're going to lose a lot of great players, but then they may also get a couple diamonds in the rough that people don't know about.
So, do we have any tweets of the week?
There were so many good tweets, I just could not pick a single one. I forgot to look for one, really, if I'm being perfectly honest.
What?
Dang.
Daniel, how could you?
Skips that.
Was that Mr. Bill?
Delete your account.
That's okay. I was sick this past weekend, so don't hold it against me.
No, I will anyway.
Yeah.
Nah, that's cool, bro. No problem. Dang it, I know I should have put something. I said, nah, I'll let him do it. No, actually, guys. No. You know what? No. We're going to talk about tweet of the week. I found one that I wish I could show you guys, and it has nothing to do with rugby, but at the same time, it sort of does. So I found this random Twitter handle called Nature is Scary.
Oh yeah.
Okay, good. Thank you. So let me explain, Aaron, before you comment. So it was.
I don't know what you saw. I've just seen that account, and it's fucking nuts.
Okay, so for those of you that don't know, because Aaron obviously knows, so it's an account where the person who owns it posts videos or images of animals in the wild, and some of them are disturbing images. So one was a video of this bald eagle grabbing a Canada goose by the neck and dragging it to its nest in the air. So someone in the bottom put.
Oh, I'm watching that right now.
There we go. Thank you. So someone put the comment about the Canada-USA rugby rivalry, and in the bottom they say, "Yeah, let's go Eagles, USA, USA, USA." So that was okay. Nothing to do with rugby, but the comment did. So that's why I made that connection with it. So it was really cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, dude, everyone is. I see that all of you guys are looking at it right now. But yeah, it's
That's
really cool, right? Man, seriously. So yeah, listeners, again, add Nature is Scary on Twitter. So you can
Our first non-rugby related tweet of the week.
yeah, seriously. Dang,
if you really want to tweet a week, the San Francisco Giants next Monday night are hosting Rugby Night.
Oh,
so you get a Giants branded rugby ball.
14,000 branded rugby balls.
How many?
14,000.
Dang, nice.
And they're playing touch rugby in the Cove.
Yeah, that's the best part. That was they shared a picture which was clearly photoshopped because there was actually a boat going into it. But it was an inflatable raft or something like that, like an actual field with inflatable tubes around it to represent the goals. But it was basically just outside right field. People will be playing touch rugby. Todd Clever actually shared it, so that's actually a tweet we can retweet for everyone to see. I kind of wish I was in San Francisco now, just for that.
Mm-hmm. It's okay. I'm sure someone will put it online for sale, most likely on eBay. So I'll just wait for that.
So,
I don't know how people were supposed to score a try. I mean, it looks like that's the kind where you just dot it down like normal. But if people don't jump off in order to score like they do,
I don't think you can jump off on that thing.
Oh, come on. You can jump off.
It's like inflated sides.
Yeah, but how big are the inflated sides?
Probably like what arena football was.
I don't know. It's not that big. I've never been to an arena football game. I'd like to go. Albany just got a team, so I may have to go up and see that.
There you go.
Yeah. Now we're getting off topic here.
So tweet of the week.
So that was the tweet of the week. We don't have any trending topics, but we do have some news, views, and abuse that we hinted to earlier.
I guess I tried to start a rumor on the Reddit Twitter handle because Christian Day was also on Northampton Saints, and wouldn't say his contract is up, but he retired from the Saints this weekend, and he's teammates with Ben Foden.
So that we should probably say that part first.
So Chris Wiles and Ben Foden were linked to. For some reason, linked to the same team, which is San Diego, and they have wings and they have a fullback. So I don't know why it was this team, because there are teams in the league that could use a wing and could use a fullback. I think it was a Rugby Pass article that said that these two players, now that Chris Wallace has retired from everything, and Ben Foden just had his 250th cap for Northampton Saints. And his contract.
And his contract's up. So he's not going to return, and they're doing a huge overhaul over there because they have a new director of rugby and everything. Chris has been linked with San Diego. Makes sense, even if they don't need it because of the wings. That's where the Eagles train, and the idea behind this rumor is that Chris wants to come to the U.S. for 1 year.
We need to stop saying that's where the Eagles train. They train all over the place. They just trained this last time.
They usually go to Chula Vista, though.
That's the Sevens.
But a lot of times they go there, too.
That was just this series.
They've trained there before, too. They train in California quite often.
They trained there last year, actually, for the Canada game for the America's One for the World Cup.
Yeah, because it was in San Diego.
But I mean, okay, I understand what you're saying, dude. It
was like so last year's tour, they spent 1 week in San Diego. The rest was like at different universities, Drew University in New Jersey, and then at Kennesaw. So I mean, it's not really the base. So
no, not really. But
if they ever play games in the Southwest, which they do quite often, so regardless. I think that was at least the idea that Rugby Pass was trying to say. But we're not sure if that one makes sense. But the Ben Foden one, it said that he was linked or having at least conversations with a couple of teams, whatever that means. That could just be, hey, I heard you need a player. this is interesting and nothing else.
So I had a few conversations this weekend that I was told to look around to see who needs a fullback. So if you look around to see who needs a fullback, you can probably see who he might be talking to.
Yeah. And just to stir the pot from my end, Ben Foden, his wife is a singer, and whatever I say now actually may go completely against whatever Aaron says, because this is all just rumor stirring. This is absolute nonsense at this point. His wife is a singer, and he apparently likes New York a lot, and he's held a training session actually in April, and he's good friends with Alex Corbizero, and was seen wearing a Rooney hat, but that was more just to support the team than anything else. So take that however you like to take that. He was holding a training session in New York while he was here in the U.S., but that could mean absolutely nothing. So we'll see.
Or it could mean something.
So
of course it could mean something.
Basically, basically the rumor, like the conversation I had this weekend was Foden is likely, and it's likely this year, not next year.
Oh, really? Next year? This year? That's interesting.
Yeah.
Because remember, he could play this year and then move to Rooney the next year if it's connected with Rooney anyway.
That's true.
So it could still happen.
He could do both. He could do everything.
I mean, because you can be sure that Dylan Fawcett, Ross Deakin, and Marco Walsh are going back to Rooney once they're done with NOLA and Glendale. I mean, that's a given. I mean, they could stay, of course, but I'm sure they will be back.
Oh yeah. Maybe interesting to see what happens, but just getting someone at that caliber, I don't want this to become a retirement league, but I think he has the most points for Northampton in its entire franchise history. I may be wrong, but my coworker is actually a Northampton Saints fan. He's the one who told me, so I'm not.
Go ahead. Sorry.
That's all I had to say. You want to correct me?
No, I actually wanted to touch on the retirement league because I'm like,
okay.
Because my point is, I'd be okay to start out as that, but eventually evolve out of that.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean, so what we've seen so far is not really an attempt to be a retirement league. Not guys that are 30,
was more of that
36, 37. Or in Mills Mulaina, I think he was 38.
He also retired for like 2 or 3 years, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was just playing club rugby for a while. So, I just don't want to be a retirement league at all. I want to grab, if we're going to bring in foreign players, you grab guys like Hewitt, Hodgson, Murphy.
Well, we're clearly getting a lot
Mitchell.
of players like that. So we're clearly getting a lot of players who are like 23 or 24, like you guys just said, Mitchell, Hodgson, all these guys who are playing and scoring and playing very well, academy level players. Who can pan out. They could stay here for their entire career, or they could go back after getting some notice here. But it is nice to have like 1 or 2 high-profile players like this, because if someone comes over, of course, you know, people overseas may just think immediately, oh, it's a retirement league, but it's not. But it's good to get 1 or 2 well-known players over here so that you do get some of those fans who go, oh, let me look into this. But of course, you get their experience too.
Yeah, I don't want a team full of Pedri Wanenbergs and Ben Fodens. It'd be fine 1 or 2 per team, but I don't want a full team, and that's not what I meant.
Yeah.
But the reason why I say no is because no one knows who Maro Itoje is. We do, but no one, like, the bringing in rugby stars really doesn't matter for right now for the American populace, because no one knows who these people are.
I don't care about the American fans. American fans don't know unless you're actually.
Well, that's who this league is for. We're trying to commercialize to the American sports fan, and as we already know.
Well, okay, so to go to the commercialization point, you want to put a good product on the field, and if these guys can still compete at that high level, even if it's lower than the Premiership and the top leagues in Europe, that's still going to raise the level here.
Yeah.
That's the importance, but I think all I'm saying is bringing them over because they're well, popular right now is not really.
No, I don't want that. Period. I'm like, if you can help me, I want you. But if you cannot help me, you can stay in Europe.
Yeah, I wasn't saying that if they bring popularity, then yes, I want them to compete. And Ben Foden too. He's 32 years old, so it's not like he's 36 or 37 and falling off.
Foden is, it's a good idea.
Yeah,
because he's young. I mean, he's ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying in general, like guys like that make sense. Whereas Dan Carter at 36, yeah, he'd be a decent fly half. Probably one of the top 2 or 3 in the league. But he would be looking to come here to make a paycheck and not to necessarily contribute.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, that may be the case there, but Chris Wiles, I would absolutely love if he came over to the U.S. I don't care how, unfounded that rumor may be. I don't care if it never ends up happening, especially because he's also got his own beer company to worry about. But if Chris Wiles came over here, I would love it. I love Chris Wiles.
Who better than to put in the American League than Captain America himself?
Exactly, Captain British America.
That's exactly right, man. You already got out clever, so you just added him to it. And think about it, guys. If it goes to Legion, he's whole because it's already used to red and black. Think about it.
Yeah.
The uniform fits himself.
So you're saying he's going to Utah because they are red and black?
They could. No. Well, he could go to Utah. But I was thinking of Legion. But he could go to Utah too. That's true. I almost forgot about them. That's right.
I think Bob would welcome another brew.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of Bob, segue. Questions for Bob. Let's do it.
Oh, I forgot about that actually. Because Corey's not here.
So what was it? So the question from Flippity Floppity 10.
We only got one question, by the way. Make sure to say that.
So with one question tonight, and then we'll get out of here. With Ontario and potentially BC essentially confirmed for next year, how is the MLR handling players who may not be allowed to cross borders, whether due to visa status or legal issues?
Can we treat that as 2 questions real quick?
Yeah.
Yeah. So cross borders, well, if someone can't cross the border in Canada or the U.S. into Canada because of legal issues, then they won't be hired. That's pretty simple. Visa status, there are 2 or 3 players that are currently signed on different teams that are here on one type of visa that does not allow them to play. So I know that both are in the process of getting work visas because they are here on student visas.
Well, I think what this question is asking is if someone is Canadian and they're playing in Canada, or someone's just playing in Canada, or someone's playing in the U.S., they're allowed to be there, but are they? I know there are certain visas where they may not be allowed to cross border.
Well, no, there would be like the only reason why that would exist is because there's like warrants out for your arrest because you have think about this: Major League Baseball, NBA, NHL, MLS all have Canadian teams, so there's like free flow of those people. I guess the issue comes into if you have, say, like let's say an Australian that is signed to a Canadian team. You would just apply for whatever the visa process is that allows you to have international players for whatever the fuck it is. It seems to be worked out. I think like visa status issues is you have foreign kids playing collegiate rugby here that are going to get a chance to play in the MLR that will need to get work visas and move off their student visa.
I think that the issue that may come up is non-Canadians playing in Canada trying to enter the U.S. to play against a team in the U.S. So if we have Ontario Arrows and they sign, like you said, like an Australian guy, making sure that that guy is qualified to come to the U.S. because U.S. to Canada is a lot easier than than Canada to U.S. as far as I'm concerned. Canada is like I'm going to Canada in like a month, and I looked this up just to be safe. It's basically like you sign up and you fill out a form if you're not from there, and then they're like, "Oh, thank you very much. Come to Canada." In the U.S., it's a lot more rigorous because we have kind of really strict laws with that. It depends on what kind of visa you have. I don't know exactly. I'm not an immigration lawyer, but I wonder if that may ever come up where that's an issue because, like, Tony Healy couldn't even come over here because he wasn't deemed, I guess, proper enough to, or whatever the U.S. government decided he wasn't good enough to be for the Seawolves.
So I think that's about it for this week, which is...
Well, I wanted to treat that as two questions.
Oh, two questions. All right. What was the other part?
So are Ontario and Vancouver basically confirmed?
We forgot to mention Ontario.
So
they played this week.
They demolished the Boston Mystics, whatever those are, 77-6.
I think it was 8.
77-8.
6. No, it was 6.
It was 6.
It was 6.
Oh, okay.
Are you saying 78?
No, 77-6.
No, it was 6.
And I would say that if there is a Boston team, they would need to shift.
Bring in players.
Mm-hmm.
Or bring in players. But Ontario also had 1,600 players, 1,600 fans show up for the game. It was also on the same day as the Toronto Wolfpack homeowner. Jeez, what am I saying?
Homeowner. That's right, homeowner.
Ontario had 1,600 players, and the Toronto Wolfpack homeowners were there. The home opener, which had, I think, 2,500 or something like that, because it was at a different field. But that was still competition for Ontario fans, and they showed 1,600. That's pretty good for an exhibition match. Our reports from our intel of Canadian fans who were on the subreddit was that it was a great experience overall. Decent field. It's not the field that they would be playing at, but they're still assessing whether or not they will join, and they keep saying that, but I don't see any reason why they would put this entire thing together and not join MLR, unless they're waiting for something else.
So Ontario looks good.
Yeah.
Based on the conversation I had with Mark Winokur, I need to re-engage on that one. They wanted to have home events first before to assess the market. I think like he said, he's like, if we were going to go today, and that was, a while ago, we're comfortable. We are pretty close. We're like 90% there. But we need to have our home games so that we can have the data. I think that they're gonna get in. Vancouver, I know at one point there were 3 bids. There are now 2. I don't know who the other people are. I know that you still have the Carl Harrison bid that is also that is linked to the Seawolves because Carl Harrison is a minority owner in the Seawolves. And so I don't know the status on that. I know that there's been more meetings with the league, but outside of that, I got nothing.
Very well.
No. Any final thoughts, guys?
Besides mine,
what was it? So I guess this was the actual trending topic that I should have put in there. There was a major article in Rugby today by Pat Clifton that talked about Rugby international marketing and all the craziness, and it looks like hell. I spoke to Pat today. We are going to do a Facebook Live tomorrow at 4:30 Eastern, 1:30 Pacific. So hopefully I don't mess it up because we don't have really cool software like our friend at Next Level Rugby does. So
So best of luck, obviously. See how that goes. Okay, so I think we're done with this, guys, because someone else is talking over me. So we have come to the end of another beautiful episode of the Earful of Dirt Major League Rugby podcast, episode 35. There you go, big number. Okay, guys, so like we always say, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel if you have not done so already. That will be Earful of Dirt. Make sure to follow us on our social media platforms, such as Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, all of them at Earful of Dirt. Make sure to check out our our website, earfulofdirt.com, so you can read several articles that we're putting over the week regarding league and games. And of course, the most important, make sure to drop us a review and make sure to follow us on iTunes, Google Play, Acast, Stitcher, Player FM, and again, drop us a review in all those social media platforms, like I said. Oh, also, can't forget about the phone number to drop us a voicemail. The number is 1-720-600-2679. And just again, 1-720-600-2679. So you can drop us a voicemail and a review so we can read it or hear it on the show. So with all that said, everyone, again, my name is Victor. That was Josh. That was Dan. That was Aaron. Corey, hopefully, will be back next week. And we'll see you, like I said, next week. Take care.
Come on. It is not cooperating. Is it ended on your end?
Yeah, we're still live.